What are you doing there, microphone? Oops. Let's stop that. Hello! Welcome to the stream today. We'll get started right at 2 o'clock, which is in about 18 minutes from now. Just want to say hello to everyone who's coming in. A bunch of people telling me where they're from. Let me know in the chat. Where are you from? Where are you watching from right now? What country are you in? Welcome, Alexia. 안녕하세요, 빌리 선생님. 안녕하세요, Alexia 님. From Canada's East Coast. Nice. Paris, Germany, Poland, Netherlands, Qatar, Syria, Syria, Maryland, 영국. I see a few other people earlier. Bulgaria, Nicaragua. Where else? Where else is everyone watching from? Morocco. Isn't Morocco like... Isn't that the... Don't they speak like kind of... I don't want to say something wrong because then I'm going to sound dumb. I thought they spoke French, but I'm going to be wrong about that. They don't, right? Maryland, Turkey, US in Texas. Nice. Sweden, Brazil, Korea. Nice. A few people in Korea. Joe Turner. Hey, Joe. Texas. Byram, Mississippi. Philippines. I have to ask, do people in Mississippi all hate the joke about how you can spell Mississippi with only one I? I know you know the joke. Does everyone hate it over there, or do people like it over there? What's the common consensus on that terrible dad joke over in Mississippi? Lashonda. Sorry. India. Nice. Someone from India. A couple people from India. They speak Arabic. Okay, I was thinking of Madagascar, right? Madagascar? Please tell me they speak a kind of French in Madagascar. They both start with M's, okay? Yeah, that makes more sense that they speak Arabic in Morocco. Czech Republic. They don't like it. Okay. I was just checking, like, that's literally the only thing I know about Mississippi is that joke. And I'm not going to say it here, but it's dumb. No one else wants to know it. Colorado. Can you say salam? Salam. Salam? Salam. I don't know how to pronounce it. So is that like is that related to like Hebrew language by chance? Because I know it sounds kind of like shalom, right? My mom's family is all like that area originally, like Jewish New York background and stuff from my mom's side. So I grew up kind of exposed to some of that. I'm like, oh, it kind of sounds similar to shalom. Salam. Maybe it's related. I don't know. I know about Korean. I can tell you about Korean. I can tell you a little bit about Japanese. I can tell you a little bit about English, but that's about as much as I can do. I'm a Korean teacher, but I still am interested in other languages. They speak French and Arabic. Okay, but I think I was thinking of Madagascar, though, not Morocco. Chicago. I see a couple people saying they're from Colorado. Nice. Can you say Magadang Umaga? What does that mean? Did I just say something bad? Hold on. What is it? Okay. Oh, good morning. Okay. I was like, I want to be careful because I don't know who's in the chat. Magadang Umaga. I don't know how you pronounce it. I feel like I'm saying like, you know, some like mystical like wizard language. Like Magadang Umaga. And then like you're gonna like freeze or something. Some spell. I got a konnichiwa on the chat. Nice. Quebec. Salut. Salam means hello. Cool. That's what I thought. I thought it meant that. I think actually someone said that. Please say it. It means hello. Anyway, we'll get started right at 2 o'clock. I don't normally just talk about random languages and ask people where they're from, but we started a bit early. We'll be starting with the lesson right at 2 o'clock, but before 2 o'clock, we always have a few minutes just to chat. You can ask questions. You can review the prerequisites for today's live stream. You want to know how to conjugate verbs before you start the lesson. That's it. If you don't know how to do this, please do this right now. Please learn this before you start the lesson today. You won't be able to use this form at all. At all. I really mean it if you don't know how to conjugate verbs. So please know how to conjugate descriptive verbs before starting this lesson. That way you can follow along. I really want you to get the most out of this lesson. And this is the bare minimum requirement that you need in order to do this lesson, because you need to know how to conjugate verbs in order to use the form we're going to be learning, which although it is a beginner level form, it requires this first. So you do have 15 minutes though. I have lessons about it. You can also find lessons on the internet, other YouTube channels. Just learn how to conjugate descriptive verbs before this lesson. At least, you know, you have a good understanding. You don't have to be a master of them, but have a good understanding of them. Guten Abend. I'm guessing that's good afternoon in German. Guten Tag. I know that from this, that's the power of the arts. There was like this fake commercials about like reading and art and work and stuff, and it had Johannes Brahms in it, and he would smash his piano through the wall and say Guten Tag, and then the kids would be like Johannes Brahms. So that's why I know that. Magadang umaga means good morning. I do have a lot of Filipinos actually who watch my channel. Surprisingly, when I go into my channel statistics, I see there are a lot of people from India and Philippines watching my channel. So if you want to tell me any Filipino phrases that I should use, I'm open to that. That would be kind of cool. I'd like to say hi to everyone. I know a lot of people, that's because a lot of people in, well, all over the world, but including those countries, there are lots of people who are interested in learning Korean. Nikki, Secretive, hey both of you. Say hello to my moderators. Oh, Bora Gould, did I have the supporters? This is my fundraising goal for a second light. Now, truth be told, I actually already bought 2 of them. But before I ordered the second one, because I'm like, I need it. But before I ordered it, I put up this. This is how much it cost me per light. It's actually more than this because I had to order a second, an umbrella kind of for the light. And those are like $150 each. But anyway, I got a new light. And now I want to try to order a second one. Does anyone notice anything different? This image right now, it might not look too much different, but if you zoom in on this image, if you make it full screen, you will notice we have higher quality now, and the image should be clearer, including like when I was like before, if I was right here, I would be in focus, but as soon as I would go a little closer, I would become out of focus. But right now I should be in focus even if I do this. And the writing should be a little bit clearer. You might or might not notice it. It's because I got a new light thanks to all of your support, donations over the past several months through here as well as through Patreon. And YouTube advertising, everything kind of has helped support me to keep upgrading my little room here. So yeah. Abend evening. Okay, so good evening. I see. Good evening. Guten Abend. That's the real reason I'm interested in other languages, is because if I pronounce them with the stereotypical accent, they sound fun to me. I like them. I'm not making fun of them. I'm making fun with them. I enjoy it. Alexia says, Billy Sansenim, I've been studying Korean for the past years and I didn't have the guts to speak during my lessons. I've recently started speaking Korean during my class. That's great. Thank you for inspiring me to try. You know, in Korean, there's a expression. 시작이 반이다. 시작 means to start, like 시작하다, to begin, to start. So the beginning is 반, half. So starting is half of it, basically. Like if you just start, you've already done half of what needs to be done. Kind of like an expression of just do it, and you're already mostly done with it. And I think speaking Korean is one of those things that the beginning part, just trying, is often the most difficult part. And that once you've got a conversation going, that's the easier part. You know, you're struggling to speak, but it's not as hard as the initial attempt to try to speak. There are a couple other expressions that mean the same thing, but this one is the shortest and easiest to explain. Highly visible says, hello from Kansas Prairie. Are you really from the Kansas Prairie? That is just wonderful. You have horses there. You've got corn. Is that a typhoon? And lots of love. That sounds wonderful. I've never been to Kansas. The only thing I know about Kansas is what everyone knows about Kansas. From, I think, Wizard of Oz, right? That's all I know about Kansas. And then I also know that Kansas is like really flat. Yeah, that's about all I know about it. Unless I'm thinking of Oklahoma. Or I guess they're both kind of like that, right? Welcome, everyone. Yes, a few people are noticing that the image looks brighter and clear today. Yes, that is true. Thanks to my new light, which is actually much more powerful than my previous light. In fact, my previous light is right here, and I'm using it as a second light now, whereas this was my first light. I mean, this was like my main light. So the new one is like 10 times brighter than this. So I'm using my older one as like a secondary light, just so it's not too dark. And this isn't even on full power. If I turn it on full power, it'll be way too bright. It hurts my eyes. Greetings from LA. Nice. LA here too. So I have a closer, yes, I made the aperture smaller because of more light, which is what I wanted to do originally, but I couldn't because I didn't have enough light. I didn't want to increase the ISO because then the image would just look grainy, even though it would be bright enough. So it's like I was kind of stuck where I was. Hello from Maryland. Why do we call Hanguk as Korea? What do you mean? That's the name of the country. Han-guk, country, kuk, nara. So literally the country of Han. There's no glare on the whiteboard. Ah, there's a reason for that. It's because the new light comes with a gigantic umbrella. It's very soft light. So even if you see the reflection, even if I show you the reflection, it's soft. You can see the reflection there. It's soft, so it's not really going to interrupt anything. Green screen works better. I don't know about that. I think green screen always is pretty good. The green screen lights, I've had these for a couple years now. They are very powerful. So that has always been pretty good. Hey, Katie. Katie, thank you. Add in a little here to my... I have a goal here to get to $700 so that I can buy a second light. Like I said, I already bought it, but it's so I could buy it without feeling like I've spent too much money on equipment this month. Just want to say hi. I was watching a video of yours from 2018 and the quality is so much better now. Ah, from my live streams. Yes, that's true. I used to film with my phone for the early live stream. I'm loving your second book, by the way. Thank you. Thank you for purchasing my book, and I'm glad that you are enjoying it. Hello from the Caribbean. Caribbean. I've always wanted to visit the Caribbean or Caribbean. I don't know how you're supposed to say it. Caribbean or Caribbean. I always called it Caribbean because Pirates of the Caribbean. But then other people say Caribbean. I don't know. Tomato, tomato. Paulina, anyone know what level is covered in Korean Made Simple? Well, there are 3 books. So it starts from the very beginning, from nothing, and goes up to somewhere in the intermediate level. Some things are high intermediate, some things are low intermediate. It's kind of a mix of what I thought is like really commonly used grammar. Hello from Greece. We say Caribbean. Is it Caribbean or Caribbean or Caribbean? Oh, I forgot to dab for the donation. That's right. I got a dab for Katie's donation. Thank you, Katie. What mic do you use? This is a very good microphone. I got this also 2 years ago. It is the AT 400? I don't know. It was quite expensive. I think it was like $400 for the microphone. I'm good with this microphone. The only issue is if I like turn my head and talk over here, it's not as good. But as long as I'm facing the microphone, it sounds really nice. But yeah, over the years, I have spent all of the money I've made from YouTube on equipment upgrades. Some of them more obvious than others. For example, I remember like I got a $100 donation last month or something, and I bought a $100 microphone stand because my other one was like bending. It would always bend whenever I moved it. So I got a new one, which is like a real microphone stand. It's great. So yeah, as soon as I get donations, they go right in and right out, in and out donations. Like you give me money and it just goes right into my equipment. Unfortunately, or I guess that's fortunate. I enjoy buying equipment. I enjoy upgrading stuff slowly. And yeah, over the years, I have gone from recording with a $20 mic I bought from eBay that was made in China that did not work, and a old tape recorder for my early videos, up to now with I have professional lights, professional audio equipment. I'm still working on some other stuff. I'm going to get a new camera soon. But yeah, so it's all thanks to all of you who are watching and supporting. That is how I can continue to improve. And I will continue to improve. I think it's fun always to try to get better equipment that looks better. Yeah. And it's easier to use. I'll say that too. I think the amount of details on the way behind is destroying the bit rate when there's too much movement. It shouldn't. I've used much more detailed images before. I've used videos too that have like moving snow and stuff. I don't think it should make a difference. Oh yeah, the background. So, we are in Jeju today. We are in the island of Jeju. Hold on. I can show you this way. And I was just sitting on this bench, enjoying the view. And yeah, I thought it was a really nice day, looking at the ocean, the island over there. Thought it'd be the perfect place to do a live stream. Alexia says, when are you going back to Korea? Probably I'll be back there May or June. But I go there every year, like 3 or 4 months. So I say May or June. I mean, I'll be there for like a couple months and then I'll go back again in fall sometime. Okay. I don't have any time for any more questions. We're going to get started with the lesson in just a few seconds. Again, check out the prerequisites for today. You want to be able to conjugate descriptive verbs before starting this lesson. And if you're wondering, why is Billy just talking for 20 minutes? Why doesn't he start the lesson? Well, we always start the lesson right at 2 o'clock. So if I start early, it's just a talk. Oh yeah, so a few quick announcements before we start the lesson. You can get the worksheet and the outline for every single live stream since I started, for ones that have them. On Patreon, even the $1 tier, you can get access to all of them, every worksheet, every outline that I've ever made. And all of those, again, are on Patreon. If you are a member of this channel, of which I think 80 or so of you are watching, you also get to watch the abridged versions of all of my live streams the same night that they go up. So that'll be tonight. So tonight you'll get to watch the live stream. Everyone else has to wait until Wednesday. I'm also going to be adding a new feature for members as well coming up in a couple months. I can't announce it yet, but keep your ears peeled, or keep your eyes open, whatever they say. Pay attention. There's going to be a new benefit also coming for members starting from a couple months from now. There is also a Discord channel I have, which is active, and it is free. Put that in the chat. You can join and chat with other people who are learning Korean, ask Korean questions. Yeah. Also, if you are, let me put this here. If you're interested in owning Gobili Korean branded apparel, I do have some options. Some stuff I've designed, a couple things actually my wife even designed. And I'll pin one of those to the chat. It'll take a second. And finally, there is no live stream next Sunday. This will be our third live stream in a row. So the fourth is always off. So next Sunday, there will not be a live class, but the following Sunday, we'll have 3 more in a row again, as usual. So we always do that. Anyway, just letting you know, next Sunday, there is no live stream. Okay, let's get started with our lesson. So, the form we're learning today ends with Jida. And the way you make it is you take a descriptive verb and you conjugate it as usual, the same way that you would conjugate the yo form, and then you attach Jida. Jida. And then you can conjugate this like normal. That's all there is to it. So if you have a verb like, actually I shouldn't use hada because typically it's an action, although there is hada descriptive verb too. Anything. Oh, let's just do descriptive verb. Guess I could do that. 작다, to be small. 작아지다. 크다, to be big. 커지다. Any descriptive verb that ends with hada becomes 해지다. That's all there is to it. You are done. Take a second. Think about that. Process that. That is really all there is to conjugating it. So if you already know how to conjugate it, that's all you have to do. This form is only tricky if you don't know how to conjugate verbs, because now this isn't part of the lesson, but I just want to say that I see a lot of people making the mistake of simply attaching jida to the verb stem. So you get like 작 jida or sometimes 작 jida, like 크 jida. No. Keep in mind it is conjugated. So 크다, to be big, becomes 커요 normally in the 요 form. So you get 커지다. 작아요 normally 작아요, 작아지다. And it's always this tense. You're not going to do past tense, 컸어지다 or anything like that. Just 커지다, 해지다, not 하지다. So keep that in mind. This is the conjugated form, not the plain verb stem by itself. Conjugated. Okay. Let's see. What else should I go? Okay. So what does this form mean? So then what does this form mean? Well, it means to become. Or in more natural translation, you might also translate this as to get. To get or to become whatever the descriptive verb is. So if we're using the descriptive verb 크다, to be big, to become or to get big. If you use small, 작아지다, to get small. Anything that's a descriptive verb, to become or get that descriptive verb. Okay, let that sink in for a second. So then, there's something else that this does to the descriptive verb. What is the let's see. What kind of verb is to become small, to get small. Think about it for a second. You can write it in chat if you have an idea. This form does something to the descriptive verb. It changes it. Now, it doesn't only change it to become, or to get. It also changes what type of verb it is. So I'll say that again. This form, not only does it change the meaning, but it also changes the descriptive verb. How does it change it? A couple people got it. You said to shrink. Yeah, actually people do use to become small as to shrink, kind of in that way, but that's not what I'm asking. Yeah, a couple people got it. Okay. It changes this descriptive verb into an action verb. So yes, once you have done this conjugation, your descriptive verb is no longer a descriptive verb. Now, that is actually important. I'm not just saying that as a, that's interesting, cool. That actually matters, because descriptive verbs and action verbs work differently. They are used in different ways, and they are also conjugated in slightly different ways, depending on the form you're using. Let me give you an example. Actually, maybe you know. There is a verb tense. For example, there is a verb tense that you can use with action verbs that you can't use with descriptive verbs. Can you think of one? There are actually many, but can you think of one? A verb tense or a form, there are several grammar forms that you can use with action verbs that you can't use with descriptive verbs. If you can think of one, write it in the chat. But now that this is an action verb, you can use those. Inception. Yes. One of the movies I've probably seen in like a million times. Adverb? No, adverbs are actually created from descriptive verbs. Now, there are adverbs created from action verbs too, but they're not quite called adverbs. That would be a little bit confusing to use it like that. But no, adverbs would be just created from descriptive verbs. So if you have like 빠르다, to be fast, you can have 빠르게 or 빨리, quickly, fat, or to be, like that. That wouldn't be it. Past tense, you can do past tense with descriptive verbs, like something was small, it is small, it was small, it will be small. Someone got it. Gost Jester has a good idea. Brian Biggs has another good one. There are actually a lot of them. There are actually many forms, but one example would be the progressive tense. Normally, 고 있다. So you could have Jida, which is now an action verb. You can make it into a progressive. So am doing. You couldn't do that before with a descriptive verb. 작다, to be small. 작고 있어요, to being small. Doesn't make any sense. But you could have 작아지고 있어요. Something is getting smaller, like that. Or you could have 행복해지고 있어요. Something is getting happy. Now, this isn't really a good example. I can't really think of when you would say that is getting happy or someone is getting happy. But anyway, it makes sense. It's usable. You could say the weather is getting hot. Like it progressively has been getting hot. 더워지고 있어요. 요즘 날씨가 더워지고 있어요. The weather these days is getting hot, is becoming hot, like that. So not only the progressive tense, but there are other forms that you can only use with action verbs that you can now use because you have changed this descriptive verb into an action verb with this form, Jida. Okay, just let that sink in for a second. I don't want to go too fast. Now, this form can only be used with descriptive verbs. Again, I wrote descriptive verb here, but I'm just clarifying. This form is not used with action verbs, at least not in this form. There is a separate form that uses Jida with action verbs that are conjugated that is used with, this one is used with passive voice. And it is not the same. This is unrelated. Well, kind of. It's unrelated to this form as far as you're concerned. This form is unrelated. This is used for passive voice. And if you would like to learn about this usage, which is different, I did a live stream about that. When was that? 120. January 20th, 2019. So if you want to learn about passive voice and this form with Jida, please check out that live stream. It's still up on my channel. Okay. I think that's all we have. I think that's the only explanation about this form by itself. We're going to be doing, for all of my live streams, I always go into some advanced notes and I talk about, comparisons with other forms or like small details. We will be doing that a little bit at the end of this lesson. I'm going to be comparing this form with another form that often gets kind of confused with it. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. But as far as the lesson goes for Jida, this is all you need to know. There are no exceptions. There's nothing tricky about this form. That's all the explanation you need. Isn't that easy? That might be one of our fastest lessons, because really I dug deep into this form and that's literally all there is. Because a lot of forms will have like, oh, you can't use it with this, and oh, but if you use it like this, it has this connotation. No, this one really is, that's it. There isn't like another companion form you need to learn along with it, like a bunch of exceptions or like, don't use it in this situation. No, that's it. Really, let's take a second to just kind of think about it. And then we'll do some example sentences. How's everyone doing? Does this make sense so far? Feel okay about it? Yeah, I know, no exceptions. I know. You know me, I have actually several references. Whenever I create a live stream, after I write my lesson for myself, I always verify. I'll check, I'll check dictionaries, I'll check official sources. And I couldn't think of anything else. Checked. Nothing else showed up. That's it. But that's good, right? I almost don't believe it. Yeah. Very straightforward grammar form. Okay, so let's do our first example sentence. Now, if we were to cover the Jida form with action verbs, that could be a whole nother, whole nother lesson. And I've already done a live stream covering that, as well as all of the passive form. But yeah, Jida is also used with action verbs, but that's not really this form, so I wouldn't get it confused. This one is just for descriptive verbs. It's not the same as the one that's used with action verbs because its purpose is completely different. This one does not change a verb. This one's not passive. This is just something happens, active voice. And this is why it's important that you know how to conjugate verbs, because if you can't conjugate a verb, you're not going to know that you're supposed to conjugate this one like 좋아지다 instead of like 좋지다 or something like that. Okay. Translate this one. This is a simple sentence. I want you to try translating it. I will tell you one word. 갑자기 is an adverb that means all of the sudden or suddenly. 갑자기 날씨가 안 좋아졌어요. 갑자기 날씨가 안 좋아졌어요. What does this mean? Translate it. And a couple people I see just entered. Hey, Lynn, welcome. Bora says, isn't 되다? 되다 is just an action verb itself that's used with a different form. I've done a live stream about that already. But that's not with descriptive verbs. That is something becomes something else, like nouns. Like a person becomes a teacher, or I want to become a firefighter. That sort of become, or it became a problem or something like that. Not with descriptive verbs. So that's not related to this. Okay, I'm reading your translations. Suddenly the weather became not good. Yeah, not good is okay. I want to talk a second about this. This isn't part of the lesson. So everyone knows the verb, well, most people know the verb 좋다 and 나쁘다. And these are often thought of as antonyms, so opposites. 좋다, to be good, 나쁘다, to be bad. But in reality, 나쁘다 is not really used that much to mean something's not good. You just say something is not good when you mean something's bad. 나쁘다 is used for specific uses. Like if you want to call a person, oh, you're bad. 나쁘다. If you want to say there's like a bad situation, like something is clearly bad. 나쁘다. 나쁘다 has a connotation. It's like something's actually negatively, it's like truly bad is 나쁘다. If you just want to say the weather's gotten bad, like it's not good anymore, it's bad. That sort of sense. You're not saying it's bad. You're saying, it's just bad. You actually say not good in Korean. It's more common to say 안 좋아, 안 좋다, 안 좋아요 instead of 나빠요. 나빠요 actually sounds awkward unless you're really trying to say, no, like it is literally bad. Then you say 나쁘다. Like 기분이 나빠, like I feel bad. Like I feel really bad, like upset. Like gross, I feel terrible. Like that sort of bad. 기분이 안 좋아. I don't feel good, I feel bad. Like that. So it has more of a lighter feeling, and it's difficult to translate this in English because most people just say 나쁘다 bad, 좋다 good, and then you get like, how was the food? You say 조금 나빴어요. It's like, it even sounds awkward for me to say it. 나빠요, 나빴어요. Like it was bad. Like that's like, it was really bad. It just has a really stronger feeling to it. You would just say 좀 안 좋았어요. Like it wasn't really that great. It wasn't that good. It was bad. So more commonly, you're going to say 안 좋다 to say something's bad. See, we can still learn new things in this course this lesson besides just what the form is. Okay. I read a lot of your translations. Very good. I don't see any major problems. So great. Let's continue then. 갑자기 날씨가 안 좋아졌어요. So suddenly the weather got or became 안 좋다. Not good, so bad. Suddenly the weather got bad. The weather suddenly got bad. 갑자기 날씨가 안 좋아졌어요. Suddenly the weather got bad. Okay. Okay, here's a good sentence. Sorry, let me just write that a little bit clearer. Okay, what does this one mean? What does this sentence mean? 정말로 농구를 하면 키가 커져요? 정말로 농구를 하면 키가 커져요? What does this sentence mean? And what do you think? What's the real answer? I want to know, what do you think is the answer to this question? So if you use 나쁘다 for food, maybe you'll hurt the feelings. No, it just sounds awkward. I'll say that. Like, yeah, I mean, you'll hurt their feelings because the same way if you said it's not good, 안 좋아요. But it just sounds like the food is bad. It kind of sounds like strong. Like the food did something wrong in that sort of sense. Like I said, 나쁘다 is usually used for like a negative mood or like something's really negative, truly negative. Not just not good, bad, but like bad. So it tends to get used. Yeah, someone wrote 나쁜 남자. Yeah, like bad boy, like a bad person. It's used in like funny slang words and stuff. Bora says, is there a difference between, well, if you write it in Korean, I can tell you. But if you're asking about English, the second sentence in English would be awkward. I can't think of how you would use the second sentence. Not like evil. Evil would be like 악하다, or 사악하다 would be like wicked. 악하다 would be like evil. That would be like malicious intentions evil, like trying to do bad things evil. 나쁘다 is more like just the general concept of badness, not goodness. You know, like mal, that sort of Maleficent. What is that movie with Angelina Jolie? Kind of like just bad. I thought everyone's spamming, but then, yeah, we're translating this, Mika. We're translating. Everyone's doing really good. I'm proud of you. Even though this form is simple, that doesn't mean that it's easy. It still requires conjugation. Okay. Nice. Okay. 정말로 농구를 하면 키가 커져요? 정말로, really, for real. 농구, basketball. 농구를 하면, if you play basketball, 키, your stature, your height, as in a person's height. 키가 커지다, 크다. So to be big, so to get big. So is it true that your height gets big, literally? That's how you say 키가 크다 is to be tall. Literally, one's stature is big. So is it true you get tall if you play basketball? No, it's not. If it was, my older brother would be taller than me because he used to, actually he is a little taller than me. Okay, under investigation. 정말로 농구를 하면 키가 커져요? So is it true that if you play basketball, really, if you play basketball, do you get taller? Do you get tall? So, is it true if you play basketball that you get taller? All right. I want you to translate this. The baby got cuter. I want you to translate this. I'm going to give you a few words. If you already know how to say it or you want to challenge yourself, don't look at the board. Now, keep in mind, it's not cute, it's cuter, as in more cute. So you're going to need an adverb that means more. So you're going to say more 귀엽다. I don't want to give it to you. At least not yet. I'll wait a few seconds. 10 seconds, I'm going to give you this. The baby got cuter. Let's see who can write it already. Nice. Oh, I think you're probably a native. At least, I don't know, but just judging by what you wrote right there. Nice, Ren. Bonnie. Past tense, though. Past tense. Keep in mind, this is past tense. Got. Past tense. Became. Okay, more. The adverb you want is 더. So 더 귀엽다. To be more cute. To be cuter. So got cuter. The baby got cuter. How would you write that? A few people have already got it. Slytown. 되다 is only used with nouns. That's not the form we're doing for this live. We're doing the Jida form. That one can't be used with descriptive verbs. Well, it can, but not in this way. It wouldn't be used in this form. Okay, I'm just reading everyone's translations right now. Carrie, you're missing one syllable. Check your spelling for cuter. Yeah, people, don't forget the past tense. That's right. Nice. Nice. I see a few people got perfect. Nice, MJ Hammer. Is that like MC Hammer, but with MJ like Michael Jackson? Or is it like MJ from like Spider-Man? I don't know. That'd be really weird. Nice. Great. I am happy. A few people have a couple mistakes with their, like they have a typo for their conjugation. I'll show you how to conjugate it. Okay, the baby got cuter. Okay, baby. 아기가 더, so more, 귀여워. Normally you'd say 귀여워요, right? When you're conjugating. So you want this. And then Jida, past tense, 지어줬어요. Again, you would need to know how to conjugate verbs already before this live stream. 아기가 더 귀여워졌어요. I kind of ran out of space, like got really small. 작아졌어요. My writing got 작아졌어요. Got smaller because there's no more space. 아기가 더 귀여워졌어요. 아기가 더 귀여워졌어요. The baby got more cute. 아기가 더 귀여워졌어요. The baby got cuter. Okay. Let's do this next one. 저는 추우면 코가 빨개져요. 저는 I 추우면. So if I am 춥다. So if I'm cold or when I'm cold, 코, my nose. 빨개져요. That's from 빨갛다, to be red. 빨개지다 is to get red. So my nose gets red. 져요, present tense. When it's cold. So when it's cold, my nose gets red. 저는 추우면 코가 빨개져요. I also 추우면 코가 조금 빨개져요. 저도 코가 빨개져요. 추우면. 저는 추우면 코가 빨개져요. So when it's cold, my nose gets red. Trying to see if I can give another one to everyone for practice. Okay. I want you to do this one. My shoes got dirty. My shoes got dirty. Try it on your own. I'm going to write up a couple words to help. So if you already know, just try it. If you don't know these words at all, just look at the board for a second. Otherwise, you don't have to look at the board. Shoes, you can say this. Dirty. Give it a try. My shoes got dirty. And then I have a different example I'm going to give you that's close to this. A little bit different though, but this one's for you to practice. Wow, I see people already writing it really fast. Yes, I see Mimi wrote a helpful thing in the chat. I guess someone wrote 더 귀여웠어요. That just means the baby was cuter, not the baby got cuter. Bora says, why not 추워? That's not how the 면 form conjugates. It simply conjugates after the regular verb, not the fully conjugated form. 추워 would be for the 요 form, but 면 does not use the 요 form conjugation. Yeah, Alexia, be careful not to swear. I'm not saying this out loud, so I will not until I write my sentence. Nice. Nice. Great job, everyone. Nice. Very good, very good. I see about 20 people attempted the sentence already. Feel free to keep writing your answers if you haven't done it yet. And very good with the conjugation, everyone. I see most people have the correct conjugation as well. Nice, Carrie. All right, so let's give an answer. I'm going to add a word to this. I'm going to make it not just that my shoes got dirty, but my white shoes got dirty. Like, you know, you always got to be careful when you're buying like white clothes or white shoes because they'll get dirty really quickly. Actually, let's say, so 하얀 means to be, so it's a white, descriptive, so adjective, shoes, so 하얀 excuse me. 하얀 신발이 더러워졌어요. 하얀 신발이 더러워졌어요. So the white shoes 더럽다, to be dirty, 더러워졌어요. So they got or became dirty. The white shoes got dirty. 하얀 신발이 하얀 신발이 더러워졌어요. I think I need to drink some more tea. Either that or the last sip I had didn't go down too well. Best part of waking up is, I don't know what this is, in your cup. 하얀 신발이 더러워졌어요. So the white shoes got dirty. 하얀 신발이 더러워졌어요. Okay. I want you to finish this sentence now. I'm going to write the sentence. I'm going to write the beginning. The reason is you might not know the Tani form. It's more of like a high beginner, low intermediate form. So I want you to finish this sentence. 매일, every day, 운동, exercise. So 운동을 하다 is to exercise. 운동을 했더니. So I exercised every day and 더니 as a result. So what ended up happening? I was exercising every day, and as a result of doing that, I got something. Something. What would you put in there? How would you finish this sentence? I'm not going to give you any examples. I'm not going to even tell you a verb you could use. What would you put in here? Let's see. 건강이 좋아졌어요. My health got good. My health got better. You might want to say 더 좋아졌어요. Because if you just say 좋아졌어요, it's like, it kind of implies you weren't good health and now you're finally having good health. But it could be that. 살이 빠졌어요. That's not this Jida form. That's a different verb, just 빠지다. But that's not the Jida form. And that's an action verb. We're only doing this with descriptive verbs, remember. So I should have clarified, but use the form that we're learning today to finish the sentence. 건강해졌어요. Very nice, Anki Tang. 뚱뚱해졌어요? Sit hard in there. That's so sad. You wrote 뚱뚱해졌어요. So I exercised every single day, but I got fat. Yeah. That'd be so sad. Well, because it would imply like somehow exercising made you gain weight. Like, how? Your body's just like, nope, not doing this. Pora, cool. The 내가 that you used is the different spelling that means you. Gianna, remember you have to conjugate the verb. The descriptive verb needs to be conjugated. It is not attached to the verb stem. It is attached to the conjugated verb. And Helen as well. It's attached to the conjugated verb, not the verb stem. I like that. Diana has 날씬해졌어요. And I got skinny. I got slender. Okay. You wrote 강해졌어요, but I think you meant 졌어요. So I got strong. Okay. 더 섹시해졌어요. Okay, very good. But if you're saying, yeah, I guess if you're talking to someone else, then sure. You got more attractive, sure. 다리가 아파졌어요. My legs got painful. So my legs hurt. They became painful. They got painful, yeah. And Avon as well. 빠지다 is an action verb. That's not this form we're learning today. So it has a different meaning. My leg got, not 빠졌어, my legs just got bad. Okay. It makes sense, but I had explained a little bit before that 나쁘다 is not typically used for that sort of meaning. Cypher, you cannot use this with an action verb. That would be a different form, but that wouldn't match with this form. Only with descriptive verbs. So a couple people, not just you, but a few people wrote 빠지다 as their verb, but 빠지다 as an action verb, it doesn't use this form. It's already its own verb. It's not this grammar form for that. 힘 세졌어요. Sure, I got strong. 매일 운동을 했더니 힘이 세졌어요. So I got strong because I exercised every day. Depends what kind of exercise you're doing. You know, you're doing like Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, like deadlifts, or you're like picking up a refrigerator, then you're going to get really strong, right? Or if you're doing running, you probably wouldn't just get strong, you'd probably lose weight. So you get slender or whatever you want to say. In this case, let me give you what I have. One of the answers, again, there are many things you could put here. So, maybe I wasn't very healthy, but 매일 운동을 했더니, oops, I got a donation. 1 second. Hobie. Thank you, Hobie. Let's add a little line here. Hobie Gwen. I think it's pronounced Gwen, right? Something like that. I know it's not Nguyen. I used to have a couple friends with that last name. Just out of genuine appreciation for your content and lessons. I progressed so much because of your lessons. Thanks, brother. Thanks, you. Thanks, you. Thanks, Hobie. 10 dabs for Hobie's $10 donation. Billy weightlifting merch. Yeah, I'm going to have a sleeveless top. It's just like, tank top. And it's going to be like pre-shrunk with like a rip and like maybe like a coffee stain over here. And that'll be the Go Billy merchandise for exercising. And it'll have like KeyCat, like pumping iron, little drawing on the bottom of it. It'd be great. Everyone's going to buy it. 매일 운동을 했더니. So I exercised every day and as a result, 건강해졌어요. 건강하다. To be healthy. So I got healthy. So I exercised every day and as a result, I got healthy. 매일 운동을 했더니 건강해졌어요. 매일 운동을 했더니 건강해졌어요. Again, it's 해지다, not 하지다, because it's the conjugated verb. Okay, let's see if I can give you another one. Okay, yeah, sure, I can do this one. I want you to write the whole sentence. I'm going to give you the ending. Let me rewrite this a little nicer. I'm going to give you the ending of the sentence. I want you to write this part of the sentence. It's going to end with the 면 form. So something. When I do something, 항상 피곤해져요. What would you put here? There are actually a lot of things you can put here. What would you write? How would you finish? How would you start this sentence? Actually, not finish. It's already finished. Scarlet Ace asked, what does 했더니 mean? I have a live stream all about Tani. It is more of a low intermediate, high beginner form, so I don't have time to cover it for today, but I do have a live stream about it. Check it out on my channel. It has a couple meanings. One is for contrast, like but, however, and then the other meaning is to show the result of something, like and then as a result, that sort of meaning. As a result of what I did, because of that, this happened. And that's what it was being used for there. But it also has another meaning of like, but however, and yeah, check out the live stream about that. 공부하면, okay, when I study. 밤새우면, yep. When I stay up all night. 춤을 추면, okay, when I dance. But I want you to write the whole sentence, just for practice. 운동을 하면 항상 피곤해져요. That's very good. Yes, using 운동, which what we just had for the last sentence, also works as well. 일하면, when I work. 일찍 안 자면, when I don't sleep early. Okay. 공부하면 항상 피곤해져요. Nice. Several people have 공부하면. 많이 공부하면. Okay. 수영을 하면, when it's actually 수영, not 수용. So 수영을 하면, so when I swim. 전 매일 일하면 항상 피곤해져요. So when I work every day, I'm always tired. Logically, you wouldn't really say that. Like when I work every day, I always get tired. Kind of sounds awkward to say when I work every day because you're saying always get tired already. So instead you would say when I work, I always get tired. So you don't need the 매일 in your sentence. So that's more of like a logic issue than it is that what you said was wrong. It just logically you wouldn't need to say that twice. Gali Mikhail. Gali Mikhail. I really didn't understand the use of ni until today. Oh, what do you mean for ni? Wait, did I teach something? I didn't realize. Did I teach something? You mean Tani? 했더니? For Tani, if you're talking about that, yeah, Tani. Wow, Gali Mikhail. I don't know how to say your name. I'm just saying it like that. Gali Mikhail. My voice cracks whenever I say it. Thank you. Gali Mikhail. There we go. 2 extra lines to that. Ooh, 20 dabs. Appreciate it. I think he means 했던. Yeah, that's what I think that's what he meant. Nice, yeah. That's just that was like a 30-second explanation of what the for means. But yeah, you can watch my live stream, which goes into detail. But that's the general meaning. It's usually used for contrast, strong contrast, or more often it's like, and then as a result. So I usually just translate it as, and as a result. And that's it. Because that's how it's used most of the time. Okay, I'm still reading your replies for your sentences. 늦게 자면 항상 피곤해져요. Okay, when I sleep late, I always get tired. 대학교에 가면 항상 피곤해져요. So when I go to, okay, maybe it's like uphill both ways in the snow barefoot. Yeah. Or, really far away. Then sure. 노래하면 항상 피곤해. I always get tired when I sing. Okay. 집안일을 하면, yep, that's, of course. Okay, this is really great. Amber Titus says, I feel it's too advanced for me. That would be because you don't know how to conjugate descriptive verbs yet. Besides that, this would be a beginner form. But I would say if you don't know how to conjugate descriptive verbs, please do that first and then come back to this lesson. It'll make a lot more sense. 고빌리 동영상을 보면 항상 피곤해져요? 그래요? I don't mind. You say you get tired when you watch my videos. It's okay. Some of the topics can be tiring. They can be difficult. But yeah, so let's give an answer. Here's the one that I have for the lesson, but really great. A lot of people have great answers in the chat. And again, there isn't just one answer for most of these. You can... Here's one. I didn't see anyone write. 점심을 먹으면 항상 피곤해져요. 점심, lunch, 먹으면. So when I eat lunch, I always get tired. 점심을 먹으면 항상 피곤해져요. So I always get tired when I eat lunch. I do. 점심을 먹으면 항상 피곤해져요. I think everyone does. Go into your little food coma. Like, oh, I want to sleep after lunch. Especially a big lunch. Like small lunch, I'm okay. But you have a really big lunch, you don't want to do anything. You don't even want to take a nap. You just want to like sit there and just like think about nothing. In Korean, there's an expression for that. 멍하다. 멍하다 is an action verb. That means to just stare off in the distance and think about nothing. That's called 멍. 멍하고 있네. 멍하고 있어. Like if you're just staring at there and your girlfriend or your boyfriend asks you, what are you thinking about? And you don't want to say, you don't want to say nothing. You can just say, I was doing 멍. 그냥 멍하고 있었어. 그냥 멍하고 있었어. Or they might ask you, 뭐해? 멍하고 있어? 멍해? Are you 멍ing? Like that kind of expression. So anyway, it's useful. Okay, I'm just checking the chat for a second. Someone says that's what bean juice. What is bean juice? Bean juice? What is bean juice? Do you mean beet juice? Please tell me you meant to say beet juice. What is bean juice? Do you mean coffee? Okay, thank you. Thank you for clarifying. I was like, my goodness. Some secret remedy? You're like, well, I like to you'd get like Boston baked, like maple bacon flavor. You like pour out the liquid inside there, slosh down a couple glasses of that. And you're like, oh, I feel great. Pickle juice? Okay. Beet juice? Okay. Bean juice? No. 점심을 먹으면, okay. bean juice 먹으면 항상 피곤해져요. Yeah. 점심을 먹으면 항상 피곤해져요. So I always get tired when I eat lunch. Always happens to be. But I always have to work. I always have to write. You know, I'm doing new lessons. So right now I'm working on something I can't share with you all yet. But I like I said, I hope to announce it in April. We'll see. I think April I'm going to be able to announce it. But I'm working on that a lot every day. Someone said bean juice is from frijoles. Okay. Karaoke Banshee. That sounds like something they do on the Jolly Channel. Please don't. Don't do it. It's not worth the views. There's some things, you know, have some dignity. Stay away from the bean juice. Okay, last sentence, and then we're going to do some comparisons. Actually, I got it right over here. I always have to tell myself to like slow down when I'm writing because my regular writing speed is like blazing fast. But then sometimes when I write slow, it actually just looks like my fast speed slowed down. I normally am a very fast writer in English and Korean just because I've been writing since I was a kid. So I have my shorthand. I can really fast, but it looks ugly. And that's how I write normally. So I have to like slow down and try to like, okay, let's make this legible for other people. I'm not the only one reading it. 이제 익숙해졌어요. 이제 익숙해졌어요. So, 이제, now, from now, 익숙하다 is to be accustomed to something, to be used to something. And most of the time, 익숙하다 is used as 익숙해지다, to get used to, right? Not just to be used to, but to get used to something. So in the past tense, I got used to it. 익숙해졌어요. 이제 익숙해졌어요. So when you go to Korea and someone says, what do you think about this strange food or whatever that you ate? And you might say, oh, I didn't really like it. 처음에는 별로 안 좋아했는데 입에 안 맞았는데 이제는 익숙해졌어요. Or 익숙해져 있어요. If you want to use the 있다 form, like I am adjusted to it. I am accustomed to it. 익숙해졌어요. So now I got used to it. 이제 익숙해졌어요. So now I have gotten used to it. I have grown accustomed to it. 이제 익숙해졌어요. That is our last sentence for this form. Everyone, I saw a lot of really good sentences in the chat, so please pat yourself on the back. You have another useful grammar form. Although it's beginner level, it is super useful. You have another grammar form under your belt in your bat buckle that you can use whenever you need. We're not done with the lesson though, but that is everything with just Jida. So, if you are a new beginner and that's the first time you've ever learned this form, you're done. If you want a little bit more, I know some of you do, we're going to be talking about another grammar form that is often considered to be similar with this form, but is not the same, and I don't want you to mix it up. Next, there's another grammar form that is sometimes compared with Jida, and that is Ketuda. First, let me just check the chat for a second. Do people get rickrolled in Korea? Well, not with Rick Astley. They don't do that. They do have other things though. Like there are similar funny videos you can send, but I'm trying to think what would be an example. I know like some people would send like some K-pop music or stuff. I think it would just be other songs. They don't have a rickroll though, per se. Hey, Zoms. Yeah, no, you can't translate slang and expressions like that into Korean. Sometimes you can, but not most of them. Okay. So another form that often gets confused with Jida is Ketuda. Now, Jida is only used with descriptive verbs. If you want to use this form, though, with an action verb, and you want to say someone became something, doing something, well, there actually is a form you can use for that with action verbs, and that is ketuda. And the way it works is different. Jida is used after a conjugated verb. ketuda is used after the verb stem. So if you have hada and you're going to be going into jida, it becomes heijida. But if you're using the ketuda form for an action verb, you would get just ha, ketuda. So that's the difference between how you conjugate them. Now, there is also a difference in meaning. For example, you can say like someone got or someone became a certain way with ketuda, just like you can with jida, but with any action verb or descriptive verb. Let me try to think of an example. Okay, actually, let's just do it with hada. Let's keep it simple. Okay, for example, 하게 됐어요. Why did I write this like it was a full-size character? I think it's because I wasn't expecting to put it up. Okay, 하게 됐어요, for example, with the action verb to do. So, I became that I did it. Well, literally, sure. This one is more used for saying to end up doing something. As in saying I eventually, or someone eventually did something. So to end up or to eventually do. So 하게 됐어요 would be like saying I ended up doing it, or eventually, in the end, ultimately I did it. That's pretty much all there is to it. The reason I'm even mentioning it, like you might think, Billy, these sound totally different. Why would I ever get them confused? A lot of people ask, what's the difference between ketuda and jida? Because they're kind of both used as something ends up happening, like something ended up getting big, or something got cute. And this one's like ended up doing it, or got. In some cases, it can actually translate as got as well. I just can't think of them right now, but they can sometimes have similar translations. So if you have 하게 됐어요, it's more like end up or to eventually do something. So the usage of this is also a little bit different. When you are using the ketuda form, it commonly gets used with it commonly gets used with adverbs that imply something finally or eventually happened, such as the adverb 결국, which means ultimately or in the end, or the adverb 드디어, which means finally, at last, finally something ended up happening. So 결국 하게 됐어요. I ended up, ultimately I just ended up doing it. 드디어 하게 됐어요. I finally I ended up doing it. So I finally ended up 책을 쓰게 됐어요. I ended up writing a book, finally, like that. That sort of usage. Again, this is only with action verbs, not with descriptive verbs. And again, it is also only with the verb stem, not with a conjugated verb. So you're not going to say 해게 됐어요, it'd be 하게 됐어요 if you're using 하다, etc. Let's see. However, with jida, jida is not used with those adverbs. Instead, jida is used to emphasize. Actually, let me say this again. Jida is used with adverbs that emphasize the process itself happening, the process of something becoming or getting a certain way. So it tends to be used with, well, it could be used with a lot of adverbs, but it tends to be used with adverbs that describe the process. For example, you saw one that was 갑자기, but it doesn't have to be suddenly. You also might see adverbs like 조금씩, little by little. 점점. Again, like little by little, kind of in bits. what would be the English translation for 점점? Gradually. Like gradually. 점점. So there are different adverbs that you'll see used with these forms. And again, Jida is used for emphasizing the process of something changing. So something, suddenly that process happened and it changed. Or gradually it happened and it changed. Or little by little, it gradually, suddenly, whatever you want to say, it changed. So that's the different feeling between Jida and Ketuda. Ketuda, however, is not focused on the process. It's more focused on the result. So when you have a grammar form that ends, when you have a sentence that ends with Ketuda, that's why it's often used with adverbs that emphasize the end result. For example, ultimately, or finally, at last, things like that. It tends to get used with more. So that's just the difference in nuance between these two forms. And if you already knew them, take note. Otherwise, you can ignore this. Again, this isn't for people who are just learning about this form. This is for people who've already learned about both forms and want a little bit more of a comparison. Let me see if there's anything else to talk about. Oh yeah, and if you want to learn more about this Ketuda form, I actually did a live stream about it. Of course, there's a live stream about everything. February 9th of 2020. So you can watch this live stream to learn more about Ketuda along with examples. But this is just a quick overview of how it's different from the Jida form. Are we done? We're done. Everyone, we finished. We finished on time. Wow. Okay. Awesome. But we still have a few more minutes of the lesson left. So I would like everyone to write a short, please keep it short so I can read it, short sentence of your own using this Jida ending. Go ahead. So that is all for this lesson. And if you don't want to write a sentence, that's fine. Feel free to ask me questions. I'm going to be opening a Q&A right now for the next 15 minutes, so I can take any questions you might have. Carrie! Carrie! Wow, Carrie! Dang, Carrie! Hold on, I got to turn off the lights for a second. Carrie! This has got, it ate up the $sign. Wow, thank you so much. You wrote a message here. Thanks for the lesson and also the short Arnold impersonation you did. It's my favorite of all your impersonations. Dab Hajima. Thanks for the donation, Carrie. You know, we're always trying to teach Korean. If I ever meet Arnold Schwarzenegger, if Arnold, if you're out there watching, I love you. If you want to learn Korean, there's a requirement. All the lessons will be taught in a poor impersonation of you. That's just how I have to teach. So if I ever meet him, I'm gonna do the impression straight to him. I think it's actually an impression of a person doing an impression of him from Mad TV. I think there was like a skit, and I just liked the skit so much that I copied that I didn't care Arnold didn't actually sound like that. I just liked the impression so much. Okay, thank you. Try speaking in Korean with Arnold's accent. Oh my goodness, how would Arnold speak Korean? Fake Arnold. Let's see. 공부하면 한국어 더 좋아졌어요. Well, grammatically, if I study, my Korean got better. You wouldn't say past tense. You would say 좋아져요, not 졌어요, because you're saying when I study, my Korean gets better, not got better. 오늘도 잘 보고 갑니다, 빌리. Yeah, I think that's how he would talk. 그럼 다음에 또 봐. Yeah, it'd be like that. Thanks everyone. I'm here on weekends, every weekend, Friday night. Okay, I'm gonna take questions, and I'm also gonna read a few of your sentences in chat. Feel free to ask any Korean question. I'm gonna be here for the next 15 minutes. So yeah. I'm new to learning Korean and I've been learning with you, Billy. How often do you go live? Every Sunday, but next Sunday there is not a live stream. Oh, yeah, that's right. Again, next Sunday there is no live stream. All of the worksheets and outlines for every live stream are on Patreon. YouTube channel members get access to watch these videos abridged tonight. And there is an active Discord channel that's free and open in the video description. That's all the announcements. Okay, now let's take some questions. Can we use future tense? Yes, you could say 좋아질 거예요. It will get better. It will 더 좋아질 거예요. 더 재밌어질 거예요. It'll get more fun. Can you speak Korean in a Southern American? I can't even speak a Southern American accent to begin with, though. The only like I can do like a really bad stereotypical Texas accent because I've watched a lot of SpongeBob and I'm familiar with Sandy the squirrel. Texas, but Southern. What would Southern English sound like? Yeah, I'm not really sure what it would sound like. It would be bad. I'm not good at doing accents. It would be very bad. If you tell me someone who speaks that way, I could try to imitate them if I'm familiar with them. Isn't Jack Breyer, does he have like a Southern accent? What is his accent? George Sohm. Hold on, what is ARS 200? That's $2. Nice. You still get your name on the board. Get 2 dabs. 안녕하세요, 빌리 선생님. 저는 후안이라고 하고 아르헨티나 되고 있고 빌리 선생님 덕분에 덕분에 제 선생님 열정이 더 커질 뿐만 아니라 늘 가치가 있는 가르침을 받아요. 수업을 볼 때마다 빌리 선생님 그렇게 완전 빌리와 같이 가르치고 싶다. Nice. Thank you, George. Hobie says, can you do a quick Q&A on 그렇다 one Sunday? I did a full live stream all about 이렇다, 그렇다, and 저렇다. Check it out in the Google document. I'll put a link in the chat right now. Matthew McConaughey is from Texas. That's right, yeah. Ross Perot. I can't do an impersonation of him. I don't know exactly how he talks. Why does Korean games require Korean It's for verification. They have different laws over there for verifying. Online accounts are all linked to real people in Korea. So now that, of course, people still do get around that, but in general, you have to. Maddie says, what grammar is used to say it doesn't matter when, even if, regardless of. Those would be different forms. But if you want to say even if, 더라도 would be the form you'd want to use, or 이라도. And I have a live stream about that as well. 더라도. So check out 더라도. Can you speak North Korean dialect? I do not speak North Korean dialect. Like I made a video about it. If you want to hear me saying a few phrases in it, you can watch that video. But I'm not a North Korean speaker. Do you have a live stream explaining the 고 있다 form? Yes, gotcha. Linux? Yes, I did a live stream. That is called the progressive tense. So if you search the document that I posted in chat for progressive tense, that is the 고 있다 form. I have a full live stream about that. Alexia says, do you have any tips for beginners do you mean 반말? Yes, I have a full live stream about all the politeness levels with another video coming soon about that as well. The easiest way is you don't attach the 요 to the end after you conjugate it, and you use 나 instead of 저. And also, I'm still waiting for Billy body pillow. Yeah, we'll see about that. There's no option for making a body. No one's going to buy a body pillow. Come on. No one's going to buy a body pillow. If someone does, I already have a image ready for it. It's going to be it's a Billy, a drawing of Billy wearing a KitKat pajamas. I haven't shown it yet, but I have it. That's what it would be. But I don't think the service I use for printing, I don't think they offer a body pillow option. No one's going to buy it though. Come on. Let's be real. Nobody is going to buy a body pillow. Simplified Fluffle says, what's your favorite and least favorite Korean food? My favorite Korean food, I guess, would be either kalbi or sundae, something like that. I actually did a video about my favorite Korean foods, I think a couple months ago, you can check out. My least favorite Korean food, I don't know, that would be a hard question because there's a lot of stuff that I just think is like okay, but I wouldn't really call it like, oh, that's my least favorite or I don't like it. There isn't really anything like that. I think some tough seafood, like there's a stingray, which is like, I don't really like the texture. There is skatefish, which I don't like the flavor of. There's a few things like that I really don't like, but I don't really know which would be my least favorite. Deidre says, 오늘은 공부했어요. 더 현명해졌어요. Either way, how you conjugate it would be 해지다. So 하다 would become 해지다. So 해졌어요, you can say. What is the, okay, Ciara asks a good question. What is the ideal time to study Korean every day? So you're asking, how long should you study Korean every day? It depends what your goal is. Are you trying to become, like, do you need to get conversational in Korean within a year? Are you just learning Korean for fun? You just want to have some phrases with your friends? It all depends on that. So I can't really say you need to study this long every day. If you want a good guideline, though, I would say at least you want to be doing 15 minutes a day, regardless of what your goal is. Whether you have big goals or small goals, anything less, and you're just going to be forgetting your Korean. If you're not using it, you're not studying it, you're forgetting it. It's like, like treadmill going backward. At least you kind of have to walk to stay where you're at. You don't have to run, but at least if you're walking a little bit, you'll stay where you're at. And Korean's kind of like that too. You're always losing it unless you're working at it. So at least 15 minutes, but then more than that or less. More than that will depend on your goal. Julia Angeles. Thank you, Julia, for the $7 donation. Oh, wait, no. It's 7 Australian dollars. I don't know what that is in US. I'll just write 7. I can't read your name. 7. I'm 13. I have started with Hangul, although what dialect of Korean? Always standard. 표준어. Standard dialect. Don't go for another dialect when you're first trying to learn Korean. Unless that's all you're interested in, then sure, go for it. But if you're trying to learn Korean the fastest, if you're trying to learn what will be the most useful for me, standard dialect, which will be taught everywhere. Every book teaches standard dialect. I've never found a Korean book that teaches Korean from a dialect perspective. You would have to learn dialect separately. So if there's a certain dialect you're interested in, feel free to do it. It'll be useful if you go to that area, if you just want to, just for fun. But the fastest way will be focusing on standard, which is, technically it's not Seoul, but it is Seoul. Technically, there actually is a Seoul dialect, but Seoul, this Korean spoken in Seoul is considered to be the standard dialect, kind of. So, someone said, can you understand North Korean dialect? Regular speaking? Sure, it's fine. That doesn't mean I understand everything. They have lots of other expressions they use that they don't use in South Korean. But as far as like, can I understand what they said, even if I don't understand them, like maybe they used a word I don't know, or an expression, that's fine. But yeah, I can understand, I can still hear everything they're saying, just like South Korean. It's not as crazy different as you might think. It's more like American English versus British English. If you put someone from England in the same room as someone from California, can they have a conversation? Yeah. Will they encounter words that they both aren't familiar with? Well, the English person probably would know everything because they're exposed to American TV, but let's assume no. Yeah, they'll encounter words that they're like, oh, you say that. That's funny. Oh, you say that. But there's no problem with communicating. Avon says, I'm watching from Gimpo. Nice. Deborah says, can you say hello in Korean? Hello in Korean. I'm just joking. 안녕하세요. 일본어를 좀 할 수 있어요? 다쇼 데키마스. よく話せないんですけど、多少はできます。If we want to be conversational within a year, how much should we study a year? How much do you study a year? Or you mean how much do you study in a day? Hold on. Paul! Hey, Paul, I've seen your name a lot on my channel. You comment a lot. 빌리 동무, 오늘도 고생 많으시오. 다음 주도 날라래 오시라고. Nice. 고맙습니다. 고맙습니다, Paul 동무. Paul 동무. Paul wrote it in the best North Korean dialect he could. It's actually pretty good. As far as I can tell, it's pretty accurate. Thanks, Paul. Alex says, 빌리 씨 고생했어요. 감사합니다. 이제 잘 거예요. Okay? Good night, Alex. Okay, so a good question. You're asking if you want to be conversational within a year, how much should we study a day? Okay, a year to be conversational is a plausible, although difficult goal. But plausible, yes. It's not an obvious goal. It's not like, oh, of course you'll be fluent. No. Conversational is the ability to have a conversation. That's it. Does not mean you understand TV. It does not mean you can listen to songs and understand what they're saying. Doesn't mean you can just open a book and understand what the book says. No. Conversational means you can have a conversation. As in, someone says, what do you think about this? Well, you can say, I don't know what that is, but you can have a conversation about things. So it's going to be in the intermediate level. So a year to intermediate. You probably would want to study a few hours a day. I don't know, maybe 2-3 hours a day, depending on how much time you have. But again, it's not just the hours. If you say, oh, I'll study 2 hours a day, and Billy says I'll be conversational. How are you using that time? If you're doing 2 hours and just turning on a Korean TV show without subtitles and watching it, are you going to get conversational in a year? No, you might not even be able to speak basic phrases within a year. You need to be doing regular studying. So grammar studying, but with lots and lots of practice on the side. So your regular lessons. Watch your regular lessons or read them or whatever, however you're studying. On top of that, then you add in lots of exposure to the language. So try to practice it. Get a pen pal, get an online friend right away who you can practice writing with, and maybe phone call them and say, can I practice some Korean? And just try to use whatever you can. I think that would be fine. I think you'd get there. But again, it's you who's learning. So if you're just kind of like, well, I'm just going to read the book and I'll get good eventually. It's not really always going to happen that way. It's you who is controlling how much do you use? How much are you learning? How fast are you learning? So just keep that in mind. For pronunciation, for speaking better, for all of that, you actually need to practice. You need to output as much as you can. So you need lots of immersion, input, and lots of practice, output, and you need a lot of this to be flowing to get better quickly. 빌리를 볼 때마다 기분이 좋아져요. Oh, that's a very nice sentence. Every time I see Billy, I feel good. My feeling gets good. If you find you are tired almost every day around the same time after lunch, you may be experiencing a symptom of insulin resistance. Well, I don't know about that. I just know if you eat a lot of food, your body gets tired normally just from digesting it. Rhea Raven says, "Thank you. I'll watch Go Billy 3 hours a day." I don't know if that's gonna be all you need. I'm not a one-stop shop. No one is. For learning Korean. It's a big world out there. Korean is a really big world, and you're not going to be able to get everything that you would need for fluency from one source. So you'll need a lot of different various sources, and not even just classes. I'm not just talking about find other books. I'm talking about other general ways that you're getting exposure to the language. So beyond just what you're reading in like sample stories and, audio courses, but also actually by talking with Koreans. Kara says, opinions on Anki. It's good. Same as flashcards, but takes less paper. but you don't get the tactile feedback of using paper flashcards. So if possible, I like to use paper flashcards if it's something that doesn't have that many words. But when I'm doing Korean, I have so many words I have to write down, so many phrases I'm studying. It would be impossible to stack all of the flashcards in this room. So I have to use Anki. And it's free on Windows and on Android, although I know they charge for it on Apple, which I think is not good. But yeah, it's free on Windows anyway. Fair. Okay, fair is a good question. You're asking the difference between 나중에 and 이따 or 이따가. Now the ka at the end is optional. Both of these mean later. I can explain this difference in 30 seconds. Do you mean later as in not today? Or do you mean later as in today? There you go. The reason is 나중에 means much later and 이따가 means a little later. So therefore, 이따가 봐, 이따 봐, see you in a bit, as in short amount of time. Now you could, I guess, contextually, you could mean a different day, but it's soon. So it's going to be today. And this 나중에 is like not today. So if you meet your friend and you say goodbye and you're going to meet them for dinner and you say, 나중에 봐, then your friend's going to be like, oh, I thought we were meeting tonight. I thought we had dinner plans. So yeah, 나중에, 이따, or 이따가. That's it. Ria Raven says, you like Korean 101 or Talk to Me in Korean programs? I don't actually know Korean 101 very well. They were actually one of the original channels when I first started that was available for teaching Korean. Talk to Me in Korean didn't really exist. Like the channel existed, but it wasn't a thing. Though I do know Talk to Me in Korean very well, and I know pretty much everyone who works there now. But yeah, so I usually recommend Talk to Me in Korean just because I'm more familiar with them and they're bigger. They have more materials available. But I don't know anything about Korean 101 anymore. Like I said, the only stuff I knew was back in like 2011, 2010. Despite being a YouTuber, I actually don't watch YouTube very much. So let's like tutorials. Sometimes I watch like tutorials. Or like Spider-Man meme videos, stuff like that. Okay, Ocean Discovery. Does kajida always mean holding something and going somewhere, or are there other ways to use it? I assume you have a live stream on this. Kajida. So you specifically mean 가지고 though. Well, 가지고 is just kajida, to have something or to hold something. And because it has go in it. So without any other context, I can't really answer your question. But 가지다 is simply just the verb to have or to hold something, like to possess, like you actually have it on your person, that sort of thing. So it's only used with objects. You're not going to use it with like concepts. Okay, I'm going to take just a couple more questions and then we're going to stop for today. I don't like going on too long, but feel free to ask any other questions you might have about learning Korean or just Korea or anything in general. Everyone did a great job in today's live stream. I'll just say that again. Everyone did really good. I was reading everyone who was trying to translate the sentences or fill in the blank. Really good answers across the board. I was impressed. So yeah, feel pretty good about this lesson. Stitch. Amazing 빌리 선생님. 훌륭한 강의입니다. 선생님이 짱이에요. Stitch is always trying to crash my streams. That's for Stitch. Stitch is my friend. Everyone say hi to Stitch. If you know the movie Lilo and Stitch, that is the actual Stitch alien right there from Korea. Bora Ghoul says, can we use 가지고 for people? No, it would be for objects. If you want to use people, you'd be 데리다. 데리다 would be the same meaning, but for a person, like to take someone somewhere. Now, you're not going to be like holding someone in your pocket, but it would be for bringing someone along. Bonnie says, 뿌듯, 뿌듯. Yes. Making Stitch feel uncomfortable by having everyone Everyone greet her. Everyone say hi to Stitch so that she feels uncomfortable and awkward that everyone's greeting her now. Oh no, she likes it. It had the opposite effect. Okay, cancel that. Stop saying hi to Stitch. Ichidroid, good question. How do you say for here or to go in Korean? When you go to McDonald's, right? I was gonna say when you go to a restaurant, really it's McDonald's. You're gonna be saying what they usually ask. You might hear a couple variations. 여기서 드시고 가세요. 드시다 is to eat. 드시다 is the honorific version of 먹다. So it's for another person to eat, not for yourself. You wouldn't say 드시고 싶어요. It's really awkward. I humbly want to eat. It's putting yourself on a pedestal. 드시다 is to eat. So are you eating here and going? 가세요. 드시고 가세요? That's what they ask. It's is it for here? Is what they ask. They don't ask, are you getting it for here to go? Modern Korean usage, I think people actually even say takeout to sometimes takeout. So that's if you want to specify, no, I want it to go, I want it takeout. But if you're saying 드시고 가세요 is are you eating it here? So when they ask you this at the cafe or the restaurant, you just say 네. But you don't reply 드시고 가세요. That would be really weird. You would say just 네. Yes. If you want to repeat it, you can say 먹고 갈 거예요 or something like that. Yeah, I'm going to be eating it here. But you don't need to say that. Just 네. Yes, I'm eating it here. 드시고 가세요? 아니면 포장이세요? Yeah. The other side of this, if you go into a restaurant where it's clear that they only do if they have lots of people that are doing to-go orders, then they're not going to even bother asking you if you're going to eat here because they assume. Actually, I guess if a place assumes you might be doing to-go, there's another expression, 포장. Oops. 포장 is packaged, wrapped. So they might ask, is this a 포장 order? Is this a 포장? 포장이세요? Which is is this to-go? So are you getting it 포장? Are you getting it wrapped? 포장이세요? So they would. I'm trying to think of when they would ask you that specifically instead of 드시고 가세요. Most of the time you'll hear this, but yeah, some places will be 포장이세요. Are you getting it to go? I guess if they assume you're getting it to go and they want to check, they'll say 포장이세요. And this one is if they assume you're going to be eating there and they want to check. So it depends on the type of restaurant, what they sell. You might hear this one or this one. This is the most common one, but be aware of that. And if you want to ask them to get it to go specifically, yeah, takeout 하세요. Lately also you'll hear the word takeout from English. I didn't used to hear that. I want to say just as 6 or so years ago, I would never hear takeout. But lately you hear the word takeout used a lot as well instead of 포장. They kind of have different connotations as well. But anyway, if you want to ask them though to do it, no, you want to say, no, I want it to go. You can say, in addition to takeout, 포장해 주세요. 포장해 주세요. Oops. 포장해 주세요. So please wrap it for me. Please give it to me to go. 포장해 주세요. So they would ask, 포장이세요? 네. 포장해 주세요. I always say that whenever I'm going to a place and it's not obvious that I'm getting it to go. So you go into a restaurant, hey, can I get it to go? 그리고 포장해 주세요. Wrap it up for me. Another thing that you should know about this is that in Korea, there is no doggy bag culture. There's no takeout bag culture. You can ask for a takeout box. And a lot of restaurants will give it to you, but it's not a thing in a lot of Korean restaurants. You might find it at, obviously fast food places, you can say, can I get a to-go bag or something like that? And they give you one. But typically, it's assumed that you eat what you're going to eat there. And whatever you don't eat just gets thrown away. They take it back and they throw it out. It's not assumed that you order a lot of food and take the extras home in Korea. So I always had a hard time because when you order in the US, you order and you get a big meal. You get like this big giant plate and you assume I'm just going to eat what I want. I'm going to get everything I want, but I'm only going to eat what I want. So you order like this item and dessert, and then you only eat half of your hamburger, right? And you save it, you bring it home, and then you get the dessert so you can enjoy your dessert and you get a drink. But in Korea, you order and you eat it. And if you don't eat it, you don't take the remainder of it home. So it's not really a thing. Like if you go to a chicken restaurant and you eat half the chicken, you don't get a bag and bring the other half home in Korea. You just leave it there. Like I said, some places will, if you ask them, they can give you like a bag, but it's not like a normal thing people do. People don't really get doggy bags over there like they do in the US. I'm not sure if that's only the US, but yeah, just something. Luna, because they're asking if you're going to be eating and then leaving. So are you going to be eating here before you go? That's why they say 드시고 가세요. Not right now are you leaving, but are you going to be eating first, 드시고, and then leaving? 갖고 갈 거예요. That would be 갔다 would be to is 가지다. So that's the same as saying 가지고 갈 거예요. That's saying I'm going to take it out. Like I'm going to bring it to someone. You could say 가지고 갈 거예요, like, hey, I'm going to bring it to someone. But you wouldn't say that to the person you're ordering to because they don't care who you're bringing it to. You could say, oh, my friend told me to order it, so I'm going to bring it. 가지고 갈 거예요. I'm going to take it to my friend. Okay. But you wouldn't need to say that your life story to the person at the cash register. All you need to do is tell them, 포장해 주세요. Please wrap it up for me. You know, like that. Okay, that is all for our lesson today. I don't want to take too much of your time. Thank you so much for coming and thank you for participating. I really enjoy doing these live streams, and I think this lesson was really good. I think everyone really got this form today. Next Sunday, there will not be a live stream. Again, I've said that a few times. Next Sunday, there is no live stream. The next Sunday, there will be. What I'm going to be doing this week is actually, hopefully, mostly finishing up a brand new project that I've been working on for the past 2 months now, almost. Also, this Friday is a really fun video coming up that I filmed in Busan. Finally, I uploaded. I filmed it last November in Busan. I'm uploading it on this coming Friday, so please look forward to that. There will be 2 videos. First one's I'm really excited about. The next one is kind of fun as well, but different. Okay, yes. So thank you everyone for coming, and I will see you again next time. 그럼? Oh wait. 그럼 다음에 또 봐. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.